Welcome to Tomo Talks. This is Tomo Marjanovic. I am here with Brandon Warah. He is a bodybuilder. He is a fitness coach and lifestyle coach. We're going to talk about the use and abuse of anabolic steroids, how to properly get your hormones in check, and how to stay healthy and optimal throughout your life. Stay tuned. Brandon Warah, thank you for coming on Tomo Talks. How are you, brother?
Doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me.
So real quick, I want you to just kind of tell everybody watching, like, what you do, who you are, kind of where you came from in the industry. You're clearly a bodybuilder. You are
Appreciate
massive.
you.
That shirt is clearly an extra medium. And, you're popping out of it. So, yeah, just tell everybody kind of where you came from. Give me some history on you.
All right. Well, my name is Brandon Warah. I did not grow up an athlete. I grew up kind of the chubby kid. And, my bodybuilding journey began at the age of 20. And I started working out. I fell in love with it. I became a master trainer. And eventually I fell in love with the sport of bodybuilding. I hired one of the best coaches in the world, and I still hold that opinion, Justin Miller, just incredible guy. And, we went through a bodybuilding competition journey together. And over the course of this time together, we just very simply grew a lot. He taught me a lot. And eventually I opened up my own company, Built Brigade, and we're an online coaching solution. And that is what I do full time now. I love it. And I love changing people's lives.
You're young, so you kind of understand this younger generation of bodybuilding and the way that it's kind of morphed. I grew up watching the 90s bodybuilders. I grew up watching the early 2000s bodybuilders.
90s is the best era, in my opinion, gotta say.
Very different. Very different type of bodybuilding, very different type of physique. Now it's a little bit different. And, bodybuilding is kind of taking an offshoot into really social media stardom.
Oh my gosh.
Are you seeing that a lot with your clients?
It's night and day. Back then, like you could look at guys like Dorian and, you wouldn't hear anything from them for 6, 7, 8 months. All of a sudden they show up looking freaky out of their mind. And now it's like, okay, well, you have a hourly update from your favorite bodybuilder. And, it's cool because you can kind of connect with someone at a personal level, but it does kind of, I think, deter a little from the excitement of the unknown, the dark horse.
Sure. The thing that I notice the most of is bodybuilding in general and fitness in general. Everything is kind of revolved around social media to the point where some of the biggest fitness stars, right?
Yeah.
The quote unquote fitness stars are not competitors.
No, it's just Fitspo.
Yeah. They're the biggest influencers in fitness. They have the biggest contracts and sponsorships. They're making the most money in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
But they're not competing, which is
It's
crazy.
bizarre almost. Yeah.
So is that kind of the type of people that you're talking to? Are they a lot of competitors that you are coaching, or is it a mix of both?
Honestly, it's more like lifestyle athletes than anything.
Okay.
Of course, I think being that we're both bodybuilders, we love the sport and it's amazing. But I think that the mass majority, and I think it's going to stay this way as well, they just want to look good, feel good, and be healthy. And that is like 97% of who comes.
So it's a lifestyle thing.
Absolutely.
I know Justin Miller, love the guy to death, and he is an excellent coach. He's coached some amazing athletes, some that you and I know personally.
Very well.
So he has a very specific way of doing things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you kind of took a little bit from him.
Definitely a little bit. Justin taught me so much in our time together. And I look at the guy as like a father figure. I take a bullet for the guy.
Sure.
His approach is definitely a little more, bodybuilder-esque. And being that I'm dealing with a lot of lifestyle people, I kind of have to tailor things a little more toned down. Of course, I still want adherence, right? If people are not going to adhere to a plan, it's not going to work. Plain and simple. It's like if Aspire prescribed someone something and they never took it, well, it's not going to work if it's just sitting in your dresser, right?
My favorite is I've taken this for a week. Why haven't I lost weight yet? I'm like, what?
It's like, did you hear what you just said? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say that out loud?
Yeah. So we kind of have to make it a little more lifestyle based, but what we do, we really focus primarily on making sure that everything's working together, right? So you got to have the right kind of food for our goal, right? If someone has like metabolic syndrome or metabolic resistance, we can't just throw them into a fat loss phase, right? It's not going to work. And it's honestly why they've come to us at some point is because they've tried everything else and something's not working, something's not right. So we need to just optimize everything: supplementation, food, training. You know me. I love intense training. I think that, if you want to grow, as long as you're in a healthy spot, you need to be training to failure. But if someone has messed up hormones, guess what? You can't be. You got to pull those stressors off. And so it's really, we're solution finders. That's what I call ourselves. We find a solution based on your problem, and that's what a coach really is.
Yeah. So you're looking at the whole gambit. You're looking at the whole problem.
Yeah.
Now, from coaching perspectives, we're going to talk about health. So you mentioned health. One of the things your clients are really looking for is health. And you and I both know that bodybuilding and health, not really synonymous anymore.
No.
People used to think that, if me and you were walking around with abs, we know how we were in competition, right?
Yeah.
So when they saw me when I was walking around shredded, 6-pack abs, serratus coming out, striations in my triceps, right? I wasn't necessarily healthy.
No, of course. Yeah, it's an illusion almost, and part of that is definitely, I think, Hollywood culture, stuff like that has kind of pushed the narrative of, being shredded on the beach, that's healthy. And by all means, there's people who have great 6-pack abs, very lean, that are healthy, but stage lean, not so much, And
there are guys genetically that will just walk around with abs.
Absolutely.
Where my abs don't come out and I still have love handles, like a little bit of fat back there, until my last 2 weeks before competition.
That's how I am.
And then 2 weeks after, they come back.
It's kind of how it goes.
It's just
luck of the draw, baby.
It's just genetics, right? So, doing that whole gambit from the diet side, from the metabolic side, from the hormone side. Obviously, you guys are not doctors. I'm not a doctor either. But you guys are able to kind of put them in a space where they understand, hey, you probably need to go get blood work.
Yeah.
You probably need to go look at optimizing some things, or at least minimizing stressors that are killing your hormones. Yeah.
1,000%. You have to.
Yeah.
If, for example, a lot of the times we like people to look at their blood glucose, and, someone might not even be eating a whole lot, and then you see that their fasted blood glucose is through the roof, and, after meals 2 hours, it's coming down to their baseline. But what's causing that, right?
Yeah.
Stressors usually.
Yeah.
And so you gotta point them in the right direction. You gotta have them fix that, because if you're not, I like to equate it to drag racing. I love cars. You love cars. I think it's a great example. So if you take your car to the track, but you have a flat tire, you can't race. It's the same exact thing. If something's not optimized hormonally or just anything health-wise, you can't race. You can't push towards what you want.
That's a great analogy. We tell that to everybody when anybody comes to us on the clinic side from fat loss.
Yeah.
So they come to us, I need to lose fat. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to go a little deeper than that. I'm not just going to start throwing fat loss pills at you and fat loss peptides at you, because it's doing you a disservice.
Of course.
I'm looking at one aspect or one symptom of what's going on in your body when it's probably hormonal. Let's check your thyroid, let's check your testosterone. Women, let's check their estradiol, progesterone, which are going to relate.
Yeah.
Check IGF-1, growth hormone levels. Let's look at that. And then when I optimize all of that, what's going to happen?
It's going to fall into place.
It's going to fall into place. You're going to naturally lose fat. So no, you don't need to take the, fat loss pills. Now, do they have a place?
Of course.
In weight loss medicine? Absolutely. There are places and times for certain weight loss meds.
Absolutely.
But if you're not optimal from the inside, if your hormones aren't getting, and if you're not dieting, and if you're, I don't even want to say dieting. I hate the word dieting at this point.
Yeah.
If you're not eating healthy, if you're not eating healthy for yourself, if you're not doing that, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not exercising, I don't know what to tell you. Even if I have your hormones optimal,
we can't Band-Aid things, right? We got to actually find a solution.
Unfortunately, there's coaches out there that are offering Band-Aid solutions. There's clinics out there offering Band-Aid solutions. Yeah. So, that's something that you and I are kind of fighting against. We want to make sure that people are understanding that there's an underlying cause and issue that they need to look at first before they go into this. So that, that full circle approach that you're doing from the training side, it's absolutely excellent.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Now, from health perspective, are you comfortable talking about your bodybuilding history?
Do it.
Okay. So from the bodybuilding side.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah. Mom too. Yeah. Sorry for anybody that watches this. bodybuilding is a sport of extremes.
It is.
It has been talked about very much in an extreme way over the last few months, even a few years. We've lost several people in the bodybuilding industry.
Yes.
There's debates on other things that may have caused that. But, we know from this is just a general perspective. Taking massive amounts of anabolic steroids
Not healthy.
is going to hurt your body.
Yeah. Plain and simple.
It's pretty simple,
It's like
right?
taking a massive amount of Tylenol. It's not healthy.
Yeah. It's going to cause you problems.
Yeah.
So, there's things in moderation. Now, what we do from the clinic side, we optimize hormones, right? Of
course.
So, is testosterone also used in bodybuilding? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it used in the doses and protocols in the same way?
No, night and day different.
Polar opposite,
Yeah.
right? So, from a bodybuilding perspective, what have you experienced? Because you just became a patient, actually.
I did.
So,
Thank God for that. Thank you.
you're feeling good, yeah?
Night and day.
Okay. So from a bodybuilding perspective and a health perspective, what's the difference that you can explain from what you were doing as a competitive bodybuilder and you don't need to go into doses and anything like that. Okay. But what is the difference on what you're doing back then and what you're seeing now from the clinic side on the prescriptions?
Okay. So guys, I got to give you a little backstory here just to kind of fill in some gaps. So I've actually had low testosterone since I was 20 years old. Being that I was so young, doctors didn't really want to prescribe me testosterone. We tried Clomid therapy. Unfortunately, that didn't work. And, I took things into my own hands for quite some time. And actually, that's what eventually led me to bodybuilding. But that being said, I think the difference between the bodybuilding side and the actual therapy side, apart from the fact that, let me just say, having a prescription for stuff is so much easier. There's no second guessing on what you're putting into your body, right? That's never a good feeling, first of all.
Yeah.
It's just not. And then you're dealing with, oh, did they brew it differently this time? It's not fun. I'm not even going to go down that path. But
it's, you know what? I'm happy you touched on it though, because you're talking about brewing it differently. It's scary as hell because I've told people, including professional bodybuilders, who have reached out to me personally and hey, I'm taking 700 milligrams testosterone or 800 milligrams testosterone a week. That's very high.
Yeah.
Just FYI. So I'm taking 800 milligrams a week of testosterone, and my testosterone level came back, and I have a 220 total level. I'm like, you're not taking testosterone.
it's that's baby oil, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know what you're taking, but it's not testosterone. And then you start to question, okay, well, even when it is testosterone, if this is so inaccurate, this is so,
underdosed.
just you just don't know what you're actually taking. What else is in there? We have had people test their underground testosterone when they came to us because they wanted to see the difference. They're like, all right, this one's coming from a pharmacy. It's obviously real.
Yeah.
They tested this underground one. There were heavy metals in it.
Oh my God.
You're talking about cancer. You're talking about cancer-causing elements, cancer-causing substances in something you're injecting in your body.
Yeah. On
If
a
that
pretty
doesn't-
frequent basis too, So
If that doesn't wake you up, what is?
Yeah. I mean, I think I told you, Tomo, when I got my blood work done at the end of February, beginning of March, I was doing my own therapy at 250 a week. And my levels came back at my natural levels at 214 with a free test of 5. And I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And then it hit me. And, you guys, I have my prescription at 200 a week. I haven't got my blood work yet. I actually got the script yesterday.
Okay. Oh,
But
congrats.
yeah, gotta stay on top of it. But I feel night and day different. Why? Because it's legit. It's pure.
Yeah.
You're putting something that's whole into your body, not something that is toxic or incomplete. So
Well, and the fact that it's doctor monitored.
Yes.
So, you have the resource of talking to a doctor, nurse practitioner, whoever you talk to. You have the resource knowing that, hey, if I look at this drug, because testosterone, it's a prescription drug, it's a scheduled drug. If I look at this drug and I have a problem with it, I have a label right there that I can call the pharmacy.
yeah.
I can call the pharmacy and I can make sure that everything is okay with this.
Yep. Not like, hey, I'm gonna call my underground guy and he's gonna spin some weird story to me.
I'm going to call Tony with the big biceps and we're going to...
The one who deals behind the gym.
Yeah, I'm going to call Tony with the big biceps and I'm going to see what's up with this. That's not the way to do it.
No.
So, so obviously night and day difference from that. From the bodybuilding side,
Yes.
I want to touch on the abuse.
Of course.
I have been there. I have done it. I have a lot of experience in it.
Yeah.
I remember taking doses, and I tell like my brother and my staff and stuff like that, 'cause my brother is kind of like my second in command at my company. I tell everybody, I'm like, oh yeah, I've taken that at this dose.
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, what?
They're like,
how are you
you
alive?
sure?
Yeah, yeah. Are you sure you were taking that dose? I'm like, unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, I was taking that. And, you know, I'm thinking about all the symptoms and side effects and all of these things that I was taking. I mean, I was taking, you know, some certain drugs that are supposed to only be for cattle. You know what I'm talking about.
Moo.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So, Trembolone, something that humans should not just take. It's
the most toxic injectable you can possibly use.
It's an absolutely horrible drug to take. I have taken it. I know what it does. I know what it feels like. I have done a lot of experimentation myself.
Yes.
And from the bodybuilding side, this is very, very common.
Very.
So, you know, from that side on dosages, on drugs, on everything, how dangerous is it really?
So, disclaimer, you know, Justin is awesome. Justin is someone that always really put my health first at the forefront. So we've never really pushed the boundary too much. You know what I mean? Like it's always been really good. However,
one of my favorite things about him, by the way.
Yes, you know, a conservative approach is the best approach in my opinion, you know. Longevity is key. Obviously, we know that there's danger here involved.
Yeah.
Now, regardless, you know, I've taken Tren and, you know, I've taken a low amount, but it doesn't matter. You know, like I'll put
still
it this
poison.
way. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you're thinking about using Tren, I'm going to just detail my experience real quick. I'm not an angry person. I'm really not. I'm probably the nicest individual you'll ever meet. I will make you laugh. I'll make you feel like the best person on the planet. Tren makes you paranoid as hell, and you will just feel like on edge at all times. You know, you can have self-control. You can, you know, keep yourself grounded, but that's not going to change how you actually feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important thing to realize is that I believe that whenever you're taking any kind of drug and you feel like you're on edge or you're feeling any kind of like crazy sides, that's your body trying to tell you something, man.
Exactly.
You know, halotestin, another really bad one.
Yeah.
I've taken it. My body does not like it.
Mine either.
Winstrol, I feel like a king. I have no problems. I don't have any joint pain, nothing like that. But that I believe wholeheartedly that has to do with, hey, yeah, your body likes this. It does not like this.
Well, so that's the thing. And like, you know, something like Winstrol, Stanozolol.
Yeah.
That's a prescribable drug.
Yes.
You know, that is a DHT-based drug, dihydrotestosterone, you know, just like oxandrolone, Anavar, you know, very effective for what it does.
Extremely.
Tissue damage, DHT will help it. It has a meaningful relationship in your body, and as long as you're not highly abusing it,
Yes.
it has some benefits.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously, all of this stuff needs to be doctor controlled,
Has
doctor
to.
run. You have to have blood work, you know, coinciding with it, so you're doing everything in a safe manner.
Yeah.
And you know, we're not talking about bodybuilding. Like, we don't do bodybuilding at our clinic.
No.
We do health
optimization.
Yeah, we do health. We do hormone optimization. We are trying to make people live longer, perform better, you know, just fight the aging process. And I mean,
Mother Nature's not kind, man.
that's it. You know, you're going to get older, but you, at this point, with the science that we have, the medical science that we have, you don't have to feel older.
No.
I have guys in their 60s that are coming to us, and they feel like they're 30 years old.
And I'm sure their wife is very happy.
Very happy. And usually they're coming in for some optimization as well.
I love it.
So everybody's happy in that relationship. I mean, we've literally had couples come in like, you saved our marriage. You know what I mean?
I believe it.
Because of the hormones.
I believe it entirely.
So this is the part that I don't even like talking about. That's in bodybuilding.
It's tough.
That's in bodybuilding. You and I had a personal friend. You were much closer than I did. That was tough. I remember seeing you the day after, I believe, and that was a tough situation.
It's very hard.
He and several others. So George Peterson is who we're talking about. God rest him. You know, we had Sean Roden. You know, we just had a young woman, 31 years old, pass away a couple days ago before shooting this.
Cedric.
Cedric McMillan. You know, and a lot of these are heart-related issues.
Yeah.
And again, I can go down a rabbit hole on what may be contributing to this.
Yeah.
we'll leave that whole thing alone.
Sure.
But, you know, the anabolics, obviously, the abuse of the anabolics.
Yeah.
Is that playing a part in it? I think it's an obvious yes.
Yes. I would agree. You know, I think no matter what way we look at it from any angle, you know, whether there's other contributors, which I do believe that's the case, that doesn't negate the fact that that's a contributor, not the only thing in the scenario. So I think it's a combination of things, you know. Cedric, he's been having health problems for a while. He had a really hard time with the illness, and you know, I believe he was on a respirator. God rest his soul, and that does damage. You know, and the body's resilient, man. It's very resilient, but how much abuse can it take? You know, when we're pushing our bodies to the limits as bodybuilders, if you already have like some kind of health condition, we're going to break at some point. We're not invincible, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's sad. It's tragic. And do anabolics contribute? Of course. It's not a healthy sport. We know that, you know? I believe it was Seth Feroce. He posted a video a couple days ago.
My
and
buddy.
Awesome guy, you know, and he made a valid point. A lot of people know, you know, like no one's stupid. No one goes like, you know, 30 years competing and blasting gear and goes, well, no one ever told me that it wasn't healthy. Like, no one's dumb. But he made a very valid point. There comes a point where life changes, priorities change, and you have to weigh out, is A as valuable as B? And, you know, he's toned down a lot. He has a family now, and that is, I think that's powerful. I respect that a lot. Nicholas Villiord, I don't remember how to say his last name. He had crazy wheels.
Oh, yeah, I know, Valonde or something like that.
Yeah. So
Beautiful
he actually
physique.
insane. Well, he's sized down significantly over the last like year or so, and it's because he wants health. Health as well.
Jason Ha?
Yeah, another one.
Yeah. So a lot of these guys, you know, and Seth said it perfectly. He's like, everybody understands the risks.
Yeah.
If they're saying that they don't, they're lying.
Absolutely.
You know, and he said it. I love this, and I'm going to skip the multiple F-bombs that he said in the same sentence.
Yeah.
We're going to skip over that part. And he basically said, you know, we understood the risk, and he said, what I did and the crazy stuff I did and the amount of crazy drugs I did and all these risks that I took got me here.
Yeah.
I mean, would Axe and Sledge exist without that? It wouldn't.
Probably not. No.
It wouldn't. He wouldn't have been the bodybuilder. He wouldn't be HWMF. He wouldn't be what he is today as a persona without the things that he did.
Of course.
Does he maybe regret them a little bit? I think he does.
I believe it, you know.
Because he's at a point now where he's got very young children.
Yes.
Very young
He
sons.
wants to raise them.
And he's like, and you know, he even said on that podcast, like, I want to be around when my son has kids. I want to be around when, you know, he's getting married. When, you know, I want to be around when I'm a grandfather.
Turn him into a man.
That's it.
Yeah.
I want to help build my son into being a man. And his daughters are a little bit older, you know, so I assume he's going to be around. But he's doing this all for his health.
Yeah.
And he's a patient at the clinic. You know, he talks about Aspire Rejuvenation all the time. And Dr. Prisk is the one who told him. He looked at his blood markers, and Prisk said, Seth, if you continue down this path, you're going to have some major complications in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
So that means before he's 55, he may be dead.
Yeah, and that's scary.
Scary. You know, so we know what the abuse is doing.
Of course.
You know, and everybody, we need to change bodybuilding. We need to, it's not going to change.
No.
Bodybuilding is a sport of extremes. That's why people like it.
Yeah.
You know, I personally don't condone it, yet I have done it.
Yeah.
So I understand the appeal.
Course.
I understand the appeal of bodybuilding. I understand the appeal of extremes. And listen, you know, we can't judge these people for taking a massive amount of, you know, anabolic steroids and this and that, because we have people jumping out of airplanes with parachutes that die very often. We have people climbing Mount Everest and they're glorified. You know, congratulations, you climbed 30 mountains.
And how many people have died trying to climb it?
I mean, one of the guys did. I think one of the documentaries, he was climbing it. The guy died.
Yeah.
Like during the documentary.
I believe it.
He literally died on the last leg of the mountain, and he was applauded, and there's an excellent documentary about it. Why is that not shunned, but, you know, this is shunned? It's the same sport of extremes.
Yeah.
It's all extreme. It's all dangerous. It's all a life choice. You know, do I judge anybody for making that life choice? No.
It's their life, you know?
I did it for several years.
Yeah.
You've done it for several years.
Yes.
We're choosing different paths because of health.
Yeah.
Seth Feroce, same thing.
That's
you
it.
know?
1,000%.
So, you know, with all these deaths, with all this stuff, I mean, I think it shines a bad light on hormone therapy and everything
Of course.
involved.
There's a misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
You know, from your perspective as a coach, as somebody who sees mostly lifestyle clients,
Yeah.
you know, what are you seeing from their end? Are they understanding hormones? Do they have that kind of negative idea about them? Or, you know, because the media, if you go on Google, you can literally search hormone therapy. You'll get 1,000 articles that say hormones are bad.
Of course.
Where in my head, I'm like, okay, if they were that bad and dangerous, every teenager would be dead right now.
Literally, you know. So it's funny because there's two sides of the coin. I'm going to go into something that I think is very relevant to this, but something no one talks about is the fact that birth control is a steroid, right? And you have doctors prescribing these hormones to very young girls at ages 13, 14, 15. No one bats an eye. You have a male with low testosterone, something that has very deleterious health effects, especially in the long term, you know, risk of prostate cancer and heart disease. But testosterone bad. Why? And I believe that there has been a mass misunderstanding as a result. So what I found, a lot of females actually are very open and open-minded to you know, making sure they're getting their hormones checked and doing what they need to do to fix their bodies. Sometimes the males are actually a little more complicated. They're a little more hesitant. And granted, some guys are, oh, I'm afraid of needles. Listen, man, if I had to choose between a needle and feeling the way I feel when I have low test, I'll take the needle every day if I had to.
100%.
You know?
I've had guys do that. But
Yeah.
I will tell you, I switched to testosterone cream.
Oh, you like it?
Dude, I can't even tell you.
Really?
So testosterone cream, and it's applied right on the scrotum. We're not going to demonstrate that on video.
Dang.
So right on the scrotum, or in women, right on the labia. My mother's on it. My wife's on it.
Yeah.
I started taking it. So the coolest thing about it, efficacious, the skin on your scrotum, the skin on labia, extremely high absorbing.
Very cool.
Okay, so cool, because rubbing on your shoulder, you know, like the old testo gel?
Yeah.
Rub it on your arm, rub it on your thigh.
That's what I'm familiar with. Is it androgel, right?
Yeah, androgel. Yeah. So that was the name brand testosterone gel. It was underdosed anyway, and the gel is not absorbing very well. So it needs to be a testosterone cream. It needs to be a certain type of cream. It needs to be applied in the correct area. But you're looking at like 85+% absorption.
Wow. That's tremendous.
And it's instant.
No kidding.
So there's no ester attached. Because, you know, testosterone cypionate, you have a 10 to 14 day half-life.
Got to wait a little bit.
Correct. You have to wait till it kicks in.
Yeah.
With the cream, I felt it in 2 days.
It's like test base without a pain.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. So right there. So, I mean, you know, for even the needle phobic,
We have a solution. That's awesome.
there's a solution.
That's fantastic.
And I've been trying it. I don't like needles. I'm a big baby. So, and I've used syringes for years. Just because I know what it did. But now with the cream, excellent option.
I love it. That's very cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, even with the people that are needle squeamish, but yeah, I mean, the misinformation that you're seeing out there, I'm sure it's crazy with the people you see.
It is insane, man. And, you know, you'll have someone go to their general physician, and this is not a knock on doctors, not a knock on general physicians, but I just got to make a point. If you have a toothache, do you go to a lung doctor? No, of course not, right? If you have a problem with your car, are you going to take it to the car wash or a mechanic, right? So a lot of these general physicians, which are very old school, they were taught one specific way, one specific viewpoint, and they hear testosterone, they have a heart attack, you know, and they're like, oh my God, no, don't do that. The misinformation is very toxic and it's very detrimental to our society today.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked very extensively about how testosterone has declined over the years significantly, and every year it seems to be going lower. I swear to God, I see some of these kids in high school and I'm like, you look like you have high estrogen, bro. Like you can see it, you know? And so it is, it's definitely something where it's a weird dichotomy, but I think, and this is why I've been more open about it recently on my social media, is that I think people, when they see it and it's more talked about, kind of like mental health, it becomes more normalized and people have questions and they want to know and they want to understand. And they're like, oh, wow, this isn't what I thought it was. And that's powerful.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you just touched on mental health, and I'll touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
Hormones and mental health.
Everything.
Are hand in hand.
Yeah.
They are literally so intertwined, and I have absolutely no idea why they're still avoided by the mental health medical community. I'm currently finishing my master's in psychology, and I'm going to go for my PhD in psychology.
That's awesome.
Because I want to, and my dissertation is going to be, for my PhD, is going to be hormone therapy and the benefits in mental health. You know what I mean? Because I think that really, when it comes down to it, I think we can eliminate a lot of abuse and use of different antipsychotics, different antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, all of these which are horrible for you.
Yeah, terrible.
I mean, the side effects are absolutely horrible for these drugs. And, you know, if you tell a patient, okay, I can fix your mental health problems. Oh, by the way, you're also going to probably lose some fat. You're probably going to gain some muscle. Your sex drive is going to get better.
They're going to think you're trying to sell them gold.
Exactly.
Right?
They're going to think it's snake water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until you make them understand that everything from the top to bottom, the way your mental health works, the way your body processes work, the way everything goes is going to be dependent on your hormones.
One system.
And I think that's where I am really trying to push this narrative, and I'm really trying to push the education side. And it's working slowly.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting the information out there. We're getting a lot of information now on YouTube, on social media, and our entire goal is to educate. It's not even to promote the company at this point. Like, I don't even talk about the clinic in most of these podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, I think I mentioned the name once. You know, so I don't care what clinic you go to. I don't care where you get your treatment.
The help, man.
I just want you to go get healthy.
Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, we have those t-shirts, a health is wealth. Like that's literally what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
You can have everything in the world. If you don't have your health set up, if your mental, your physical, your physiological health, your biological systems, if your organ health, if everything's not working synergistically and optimally, you're not going to be a happy person. You're going to feel horrible.
You're going to feel terrible. You're going to perform terribly. And you're going to wonder, you know, what's wrong with me? And it's going to be this cycle where you don't escape it unless you're doing the right things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what advice would you give for people that are looking for coaching, that are looking for diet and exercise training, that are looking for hormone therapy? What would you tell them to really look into? Tell them how to find you. Tell them how to find your company, and just kind of go over really what your vision and goal is for what you're doing, because you're in the exact same field as me.
Yes.
You want to make people healthier. You want to make them more optimal, and this is the kind of thing that people need to hear, because let's get real. The real pandemic, the real problem that we have in this country, especially, is obesity and heart disease.
Yep. I mean, that's the number one killer in our country.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
I think what is the statistic? By 2024, 25, it's going to be a 51% obesity rate. 51%.
That's
what? Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, the one thing that my wife noticed when we were in Dubai, right? So we're in the Middle East.
Yeah.
She's like, nobody's fat here.
No.
She's like, no, there's no obese people here. They don't exist.
Yeah.
Like,
I love Dubai.
Dude, most amazing city. Absolutely great. But yeah, the obesity crisis. This is what needs to be really dealt with from the medical community. But the biggest problem that I see is that doctors don't say anything about diet and exercise.
No.
They don't say anything about hormones. They don't say anything about lifestyle. They're like, oh, you have high cholesterol?
Band-Aid.
Here's your cholesterol med.
Yep.
You have some high blood pressure? Here's your blood pressure med.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you can't sleep? Sleep med.
They have it backwards. The first thing should be your lifestyle changes, then exploring other alternatives, and then if all else fails, okay, here's a medication for it. Not boom.
Yeah.
You got to fix it the right way.
Yeah. So what's your goal? So what's your vision? What can you tell people? And make sure you tell them how to find you, because
Sure.
I want more coaches like you out there.
I appreciate you, Tomo.
I want more people out there that are really spreading this positive message, that are really going after the true issue in society, which is the way we're eating, the way we are sedentary, and how our body processes are working. Hormone deficiencies are all too common now.
It's insane.
So what would you tell everybody?
Guys, if you're looking for a coach in general, and just as Tomo said, I don't care where you go. I'll tell you how to find me, but find someone who, number one, cares about your well-being. Number two, someone that's science-based. Now, I love reading studies on PubMed. However, if they can't take those studies and apply them, that's a whole different story. So they need to be able to apply them in a actual setting where people are getting results. If They don't have any results. That's a problem. Why don't they have any results, right? These are things to watch out for. Third, if anyone ever tells you have to eat tilapia 6 times a day to thin your skin, don't do it. It's a bodybuilder joke, guys. No, in order to find me, you can visit our website at www.builtbrigade.com, or you can visit our social media on Instagram at Team Built Brigade. Apart from that, I really think the number one thing that you guys can do for yourself, apart from me, focus on sleep. Get at least a bare minimum of 7 hours of sleep a night. Did you know statistically, Americans on average get 5.5 hours of sleep a night?
And it's usually very poor sleep.
Horrible. So don't do that. Get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. Stay hydrated. Drink at least a gallon of water a day. Get 10,000 steps a day. Okay, your phone actually automatically tracks your steps. Go into the health app, click browse activity, click on steps. It will automatically track it as long as you keep it on you. If you do those 3 things alone, those 3 simple little things, I guarantee you, within 2 weeks, your life will change. Okay? Don't even find me until then. This is free information. This is free stuff that will help you. Do those 3 things, and I guarantee you, you're gonna start feeling better. Sleep is everything. Movement is everything. And hydration is everything. Your body's mainly water. So these are all things that I think will be very beneficial for you. And then come find me. I'd love to help you. Otherwise, find someone who cares about you and your health. You're not just a number. This isn't just a transformation picture. This is your health we're talking about. And listen, I don't want to die young. I know you don't either. So let's fix it.
Brandon, I love the message, man. Thank you for coming on here.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
I appreciate you coming on here, telling everybody kind of the real stuff about health, about fitness, about bodybuilding.
Absolutely.
And we're just going to continue to spread this great message.
I love it, Tomo. Thank you so much,
Thanks, man.